You're listening to episode 2 of SakuraPop Cast. I shall be reviewing Record of Youth today, followed by the ending analysis. If you want to skip to the analysis, please see my description for the timestamp. This is a podcast, so I ask for your ears, not your eyes. You can safely ignore the video portion and leave audio running for your listening pleasure. I'm going to start off with a chip off the banger. This eagle-eyed viewer has seen something I cannot unsee in Record of Youth, and that's Haejun's house, his neighborhood street. It's the same set location as startup's Namdo-san's home. And not only that, but it's also the same house as in Reply 1988. You really can't miss it once you've seen it. The interior and the and the exterior. I really don't think many Korean houses are designed like this. Anyways, it's very interesting. Keep a lookout for it and keep looking for this house in future dramas, folks, because it's going to keep coming back. Speaking of comebacks, Record of Youth is Park Bo-gum's comeback after his army service. And what an explosive comeback it is. The viewership ratings went through the roof on this in Korea. But if you surf through Reddit or any other online discussion forum, you'll find that even though people kept watching it, there's a sense of regret for sticking through until the end. I've had so much time thinking about the finale, and I've discussed it with a friend also, so I can see where the frustration lies. But let's start from the beginning. Record of Youth is 16 episode long, airs on Netflix, and here's the summary. Two actors and a makeup artist fight to make their own way in a world that weighs the backgrounds they were born into more than their dreams. Starring Park Bo-gum and Park So-dam, who you remember as the daughter from Parasite. Pretty good amount of star power. If you love Park Bo-gum or you want to see good acting chops from a guy you've heard so much about, then you can do well with watching him in Record of Youth. Bo-gum pulls almost all the weight behind this show. His emotional state draws you in, and he's the underdog you keep rooting for. It was fun and satisfying watching his rise to stardom. I'm not a Park Bo-gum fan club girl, but I can't help but ogle a bit when he does model shoots and when they show him acting. It's quirky the way we're watching an actor in a show become an actor. The show is high on production values. I think maybe they did some European location shoots for an episode. Also, there's this prolonged, super bombastic fight scene of Park Bo-gum kicking some serious ass in a Seigyuk period drama. Brilliant. That one fight scene alone probably cost thousands upon thousands of dollars to film. I even watched it twice for the coolness factor. So yes, Park Bo-gum's amazing and the script is tight, but what brought the show home for me is exactly that word. It's the theme of home and family. Even though the show has a big romance component, the family component felt more genuine and captivating. It was moving, and I admit I shed my fair amount of tears. Sometimes happy ones, and sometimes sad ones. They depict family values, the clashing of those values, amongst the backdrop of a good-natured, passionate person who perseveres against the odds to realize his dream. That's why I rate this show 4 blossoms out of 5, because I felt hugely for Haejun and his family surroundings. Yes, that is indeed what family can be like. They can be your greater supporters in the rough ride of life, but they can also hurt you and push those buttons. Now comes the second important question I always answer for you in any drama. Is it bingeable? How should one best watch this drama? My tip is don't binge at all. Resist the urge. All 16 episodes are out now, but you'll hate yourself and you will have trouble getting through all of it in a go. So you've got to pace, and that will help keep the drama enjoyable for you. Pacing means no more than 2 episodes at a time. They are an hour long, a full hour. So that gives you an indication of, where it should start and stop. There are whole stretches of this drama where people are self-reflecting on slowly working out kinks in their careers or personal lives. If you watch too many of these moments in a row, you'll end up feeling disconnected or worse, bored. My other tip is to keep an open mind. You receive more payoff if you take the characters for whom they are, appreciate them, and empathize. Otherwise, the gaps will begin to show obviously. Spoiler alert! Now that we're talking about gaps and possible weaknesses, it's time to do a deep dive and uncover those. I'm going to start tearing things apart, folks. I'll also refer to character names from here on. When you find that every few episodes or so, you have to discuss with a friend to sort out character motivations and find yourself looking for reasons to justify them, that's a sign of patchy writing. Let's differentiate between writing and scripting. The scripting is great. Characters talk in much the way you expect them to talk, and what they say is tight and fitting for whatever scene that they're acting. When I say writing, I don't mean the script, what the actors themselves say, but everything else that forwards the plot. The show started out very strong. It veritably raced out of the gate, introducing friendships, family, but most importantly, Sae Jun's conviction and his ambition. And that's a major draw. It makes him very attractive as a lead. How can Hae-jun keep going, and how can he justify keeping going when he's not achieving those critical milestones? And uh, that launches the premise of the drama. In the meantime, his family members are pressuring him, and then Hae-jun and Jung-hwa meet. They become fast friends, they share dreams, they become critical supports for each other. Not surprisingly, they begin to date. And we're served some delicious scenes of Hae-jun's misty-eyed confessions. I very much enjoyed watching those. My friend who I discussed with, thank you, Bonds, squarely designated these early episodes as the best parts of the drama, and I quite agree. We both loved watching the underdog couple struggle upward to make their existence known to the bigger world. It was a lot of fun, and every conflict they conquered was exciting. Every decision Hae-jun made his character stronger and all the more admirable. So he insisted on protecting Charlie John's reputation. He insisted on acting in a saeguk, a historical drama, over a rom-com against his manager's advice. And he flat out rejected an Old Flames overtures while staying true to Chunghwa. And then things started to slow down at about episode 10. So here, Hae-jung's done it. He achieved star status. He's overshadowing his friend for once. Jung-hwa is starting to break out on her own as well. So it's all very nice, isn't it? But then I felt like the drama began to lose me in terms of Hae-jun's relationship with Jung-hwa, which is meant to be a cornerstone of the drama. Since Hae-jun became famous, there were less chances for the couple to get together. They are also not on the same page anymore. Frustratingly, Jung-hwa consciously refuses to share her problems with her boyfriend. She's got a lot of pride, and I suspect it's pride that holds her back, along with some consideration for her boyfriend's own troubles and not wanting to heap more of the of her complaints onto him. But this is what being a couple is all about. You should share all the important things, good and bad. Jonghwa strikes me as someone who is so independent that she refuses to accept help from other people unless it's literally pushed forcefully at her. Like the way her dad insisted that she accept his financial help in procuring her a shop location. But because of Chonghua refusing to reach out to her support network, my appeal and my admiration for her evaporated. I thought she was really cool, but maybe she was too cool and too chic. It's it's very annoying. And then because we see it from a mile away, they break up. Haejun breaks up with Chonghwa, and that was even more annoying. Haejun loves her and tries to talk her out of it. She professes to still love him, but she says their relationship has become one where they apologize to each other all the time. It's very selfish of her. She chose to break up to protect herself, not to protect Haejun. And she needed to protect her pride, and that came first in their relationship. It's pretty ridiculous, and I couldn't connect at all. I thought that's the least worthy reason for a breakup I ever heard of. In the meantime, Haejun's heart is breaking, and everybody who's been watching the show feels super badly for him. You could argue that Haejun kept lots of things to himself as well. He seemed to prefer to cry himself to sleep rather than share his insecurities with Chonghua, but he didn't initiate the breakup. So whatever problems or sharing that he had, that could be ironed out over the course of time. My friend pointed out something ultra interesting that I didn't catch in episode 2 or 3 or so, where Chonghua is eating dinner with a friend at her place, and she stated that she had no intention of marrying. And that's very interesting. That's kind of a red flag from the beginning, and I missed it. I just forgot about it. Clearly, Chonghua is a highly independent woman and she makes her own success. She's focused, and originally she pushed aside the idea of launching into a relationship so that she can stay focused on advancing her career. So, from that far back, I suppose the signs were there, but it doesn't make the reason for breakup any more acceptable. Haejun had trouble accepting it too. And in the end, the last episode, we see the two of them meeting up again unexpectedly at a shoot. They're both ultra successful now and realize their dreams. We're left off wondering if they'll get back together or just remain friends. I personally liked that dangler, although I'm sure there are lots of netizens who will disagree with me and who prefer a more complete ending with the relationships all sorted out. But I feel like there's no need to tie up every single loose end. They're still really young, early 30s at most, so their record of youth has yet to be completed. Unlike many, I personally am quite satisfied with the ending. Aside from our main leads, everyone else settled into their own measure of success, so it's a happy ending in my view. Wang Heo's kitchen conversation with his mother was a pretty solid closer. He told his mom that she raised him well because despite his own lack of achievements compared to Haejun, he could still celebrate his friend's success and did not give in to ugly moments of jealousy. Sometimes I wonder why in the world Park Do-hwa had to butt in so much and buddy along with Heo, and I think I finally got it. For one, Park Do-hwa forced Heo to face the reality of his mom's interference in his Instagram account. So Park Hwa has been a useful foil to Won Heo, despite being an annoying jerk who nobody seemed to really want to watch that much screen time of. It also seems as though every time Park To-hwa invites himself to Pilates with Heo, he's saying things that Heo could easily say in like the darkest, deepest recesses of his mind. For example, jealousy over Jun's success, which which may come across to somebody like Park Do-hwa as being totally undeserved. There's also those suspicions about Heo's Instagram followers. In a way, Park Do-hwa was the little devil on Heo's shoulder who's trying to lead him astray, but at the same time also allows him to tune into those dark thoughts that any normal human being sometimes have to acknowledge is there. It's the devil's advocate coming out to play. Hale doesn't vent throughout the course of the drama. He just lets things happen to him and he lets his mom do the managerial work. So we've had precious few moments to glimpse into his psyche, not until at the very end when he has that heart to heart with his mom. And when Haejun received his acting award, and also when Heo let Haejun's ex to help out with the whole Charlie Jung situation, at that point, I feel like the writers were intentionally trying to mislead us viewers to begin to suspect Hale's intentions and potential future betrayal. But it didn't happen. I'm happy to report. Hale did not turn into the ugly kind of human of dubious loyalty that Pak Do-hwa clearly is. And that, my friends, is something that him and his mom truly need to be proud of. Then there's everyone else. There's Haejun's ex who finally let Haejun go, the reporter who makes up for for her mistake after dragging out her dislike against Haejun under false grounds, and that was pretty stupid of her. Grandpa receives an award and ropes his son in under Team Grandpa, yay! And Dad learns that Haejun doesn't hate him. It's these last two things which brought tears to my eyes and unbridled flow of tears. Family can be many things, but I have yet to meet a person who doesn't think their family is complex in some way. You can shrug off other people who disappoint you, who disagrees with your worldviews, your deeply held views and beliefs, but you can't shrug off family. Everything they say has twice the impact. A small compliment means so much more, and a criticism feels like they've chucked you over a cliff, and it's devastating. So, if your family is anything like Heijun's family, there are three generations living under one roof. Arguments are abound. There are undercurrents of guilt, disappointments, and sadness that doesn't go away, and neither do financial troubles. There are some members who just keeps pushing those buttons unrelentlessly, and they profess that it's for your own good, and everyone seems to be less keen to keep their emotions under control than they normally would interacting with people outside of the family environment. Ergo, the best scenes in Record of Youth are Haejun's family scenes. From their kind of hilarious ADD style family meetings where they never stay on topic, to grandpa versus dad, to brother versus Haejun, to mom versus dad, I could guess that writers modeled these interactions after their own families. It's pandemonium, but it's also clear that despite all the disagreements and siding with one over another, this family cares and loves deeply. And you see that in Dad and Haejun's ending heart to heart. You see it in Mom's crisscrossing concern and support for Haejun and for Grandpa. You see it hilariously exhibited in the brothers' online revenge commenting against Haejun's haters and in Grandpa's attempts to make up for lost time with his son. There are also lots of moments of little things that are so real and relatable. For example, the parents receiving money from Haejun ended up not being a source of pride for them, but a source of guilt, like taking money from your kids when you as a parent are supposed to give and never expect anything in return. And yet afterwards, Dad was especially gleeful to receive what he considered to be pocket money from his very elderly father with zero amounts of guilt whatsoever. It's hilarious and it's heartwarming. So they obviously love each other, but hey, it's family, and family has funny ways of showing that they love you. This was a longer podcast, and I knew it was going to be long because Record of Youth manages to weave in so many nuances and thematic layers into each episode that there's lots to talk about. There are some things to be unhappy in how the drama handled certain characters. For example, Heo's development is really not reflected well. You can't tell what's going on inside the guy's mind. And there was definitely more to be happy about, however, in this whole drama. So I still recommend it, and I still gave it a pretty high review. Shall we end now with a little Korean lesson? I'll fit these in whenever possible to give you a little bit more insight into Korean culture. Because when you listen to Sakura Pop all the way to the end, I've got to treat you to something that's at least adds an interesting note that you can share with your friends when you're talking about Korean dramas. I want to uh, take your attention and about the names of our three leads. They're very peculiar. Sahejun, An Chonghwa, Won Heo. These names all mean something in Korean, as you would have discovered in episode 3 or so, when all three people all meet together at once. Hejun is a Korean verb conjugation of hejuda, which means to give, which is entirely fitting as Hejun is very much a giving type of person. He gives it his all and he gives his love freely, whether it's to his mom, grandpa, Chonghwa, or to his growing fandom. The name of his fictitious fandom is 다 해준다, which means I give it or I give you my all. Next is 원해요. This is the conjugative form of 원하다. His full name literally means I desire, whether it's I desire an object or people. That's an interesting contrast to Hejun, which means I give. Finally, Anchong of Anchonghwa is a noun meaning stability, which is also entirely fitting of her character traits. So it seems like the writer names had a lot of fun with creating these character names. And that's all there is to it. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 2. I will see you next time.